Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the thought behind the thought, the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence. We're solving little pieces of revelation. This could be Revelation 13. It could be a lot of different things. It could be the seals and the birth pangs. Peace is not really delineated in Revelation, so that would be 1 Thessalonians 5:3. But yet we know you need peace before you get to Revelation 11 or 13 or any of those sections. So we're solving those. We're on the precipice of peace. That's what I believe. And there has been no official announcement made, but there are other signs that are occurring. We're pointing our fingers and saying, that looks like peace. That looks like it. But, we're not quite there yet. Trump wants his award. He's not going to get it. The Nobel Committee hates his guts. They're not going to give it to him. Not after that UN speech the other day. Oh, no. He wants his Trump Gaza. Okay, so Trump praises Hamas's acceptance of Gaza ceasefire plan despite Netanyahu's doubts. So they have a 20 or a 21 point plan that they want accepted. We don't know yet if it's been accepted. So what are we doing today? We are trying to solve the peace plan. We've got a guy behind the scenes working on it. He's part of prophecy. We're trying not to twist the Bible. We're trying to give you real news, real things, and once again, the precipice of peace. That seems to be where we're at right now, where we could potentially see something like this going on in the near future. So what are we looking at? We're waging peace with terrorists, with liars, with people that want other people dead, no matter who it is, even their own. I mean, they're all tribal, and so we have problems. Israel, USA, Hamas to begin hostage talks in Egypt on Monday. Okay, so the deadline was last night, but this is as of Sunday the 5th. We're recording the 6th. Oh, why didn't I record yesterday? Because I didn't have any news. I like to have a bow to tie my present, and if I don't have the bow, and I think I got it, the statement that I wanted today. So hostage deal, Netanyahu, by the way, that was Sweden Herald on the left-hand side. Netanyahu gets green light from Ben Gvir and Smotrich. So this is 7 News, Arutz Shava. PM Netanyahu secured coalition support to begin the hostage deal as Smotrich and Ben Gvir warned they won't tolerate a Gaza agreement that leaves Hamas intact. Okay, so there's a green light to implement the first stage of the hostage deal. We have enough information. I will give you that in just a little bit here. So no news has been bad news, really, but it seems like, based on World Israel News, the reports claim Hamas collecting bodies of deceased hostages. So that's a good sign. We want the hostages returned. That's the first and foremost thing. Okay, the report further asserted that Hamas has agreed in principle to surrender its weapons to a Palestinian Egyptian body under international supervision. That's from their advice. World Israel News. We started to collect the Israeli deceased, and so they're working on it. It seems to be occurring. If it doesn't happen, President Trump has said that he will back Israel completely and acting forcefully against Hamas, Netanyahu said. So we know the deal. So that's fairly fresh. This is the tipping point of why I'm publishing now, rather than waiting maybe 10 or 20 more hours, rather than Sunday, obviously. So this is Ynet News. Trump's Gaza plan, corner Hamas and Netanyahu tempt Erdogan and use Kushner behind the scenes. Trump replaces failed Witkoff outline with sweeping new plan that upends game, dictating terms on the ground to pressure both Hamas and Netanyahu behind the move. Kushner's influence, major regional interests, and tough compromises ahead. So their editors note they're pinning the tail on the Antichrist here. The fact that Kushner has been sent to Egypt is proof that this deal is close to being made. That's why I saved it until I finally had this article. Yet Hamas may need persuasion, and Kushner can be very persuasive indeed. Every single believer needs to be watching everything this man does and judging what he says. They're pinning the tail on the Antichrist. That's what this article is saying. And this, oh goodness, I'm sorry, I didn't indicate exactly where this came from. This is one of the end time news, but it's really Ynet News and then the editor of, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of the provider. But anyway, this is their opinion, and it's a very interesting opinion. His influence is behind the scenes, it's never ended. Even after the first Trump administration, his friendships and ties with Arab countries have only strengthened after he left office. He is responsible for the Abraham Accords. He is the major force behind the Peace to Prosperity Plan, Trump administration is committed to achieving. He's also the main author of the Gaza Day After Plan. He and Tony from Great Britain. Why am I blanking on? You know who Tony is. He used to run Great Britain. So, in a multitude of unusual facts surrounding this man do not make you, if the multitude of unusual facts surrounding this man do not make you suspicious of him, then you lack discernment. There's no other way I can state it, basically. So be alert. Interesting. So they're pinning the tail on the Antichrist. And we'll see if they're correct. Okay. Now, the Antichrist has a system, too. So they're going to demand worship. And we want to worship God. They want us to worship their Moloch and their Antichrist and their system. So you could read these things that are listed. You can pause and read if you want to. But basically, they're saying you need to worship those things. And we're saying, no, we're not going to. And we're not going to take the mark either. So I have a friend named Rebecca Sturley that died a few years ago. She saw most of the players back in 1999. She also saw the Royal Order of the Lily, which is the Antichrist beast system. Okay? And so what I'm saying is that I couldn't interview on this. She shut down one of my interviews where we were discussing who the Antichrist was, and she said, not from her. Now, her daughter is still with us, and I potentially can interview her daughter at some point in time. I think she saw who the Antichrist is, so she could pin the tail. I will say you that based on how I read Revelation 17, that here, I'll just read it to you and then give my opinions. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains. I'm arguing Mount Rushmore, on which the woman is sitting, and I'm saying the woman is the United Nations sitting in New York City. Also, there are 7 kings, 5 have fallen, so those are certain presidents, okay? 1 is Obama, and the second term of number 47 is not yet. When he does come, he must be for a little time, so Trump is not going to last the full time. The beast which was and now is not is an 8th, the Antichrist, and it comes from the 7, the U.S. presidents, and goes to Sheol, which is hell. And the 10 horns, the big tech that thou sawest, are 10 who a kingdom did not yet receive. So they're big tech. They don't have lands, okay? And so, but authority, and as, once again, host is used frequently in this section. That's similar to the kings. The same hour did receive with the beast. So these guys are going to build the beast system and hand it off to the beast at some point in time, whoever we pin our tail on. They have one mind. That's gnome, like computer programming, and their own power and authority to the beast they shall give over. These with the Lamb shall make war, and the Lamb shall overcome them. Revelation 17:9-14. I show you the Hebrew on the left-hand side and my anglicized version on the right-hand side. So I'm saying it has to be America, and we are controlling the world right now. We're dominating it. Trump is the king of the world, whether you like it or not. Like him or not, he's the king of the world. And the big tech guys are all American. And New York City seems to be where that woman sits, and that's the United Nations. And so it's sickening, but that's the way it works. And so we have the peace agreement starting. And we'll see what happens, but I'll get to my point at the end here. Which peace agreement are we talking about that kicks it off? Which is Daniel 9:24-27. So his deadline for this peace agreement was October 5th, last night, which would be 1 o'clock in the morning, Israel time. And so, sorry about the joke in the middle about Greta. Yeah, the war would end if they had to deal with her. So this was the last chance, and you can see his terms and conditions on the right-hand side. You could stop the video if you want to and read it through. But basically, nothing's occurred yet, so that's why I didn't record last night. I thought about it, but I didn't, okay? And so why appeasement never brings peace. This is Josh Wander. He's a friend. He's a very close friend of Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz. The pattern of disaster. They handed back Sinai. They handed back southern Lebanon, and Hezbollah came in there. Gaza was evacuated, and they turned it into a fortress of terror. Judea and Samaria have been offered repeatedly, and each time violence erupts. So you can't appease the other side. You can't hand them anything at all. Just the sword, unfortunately. So, and you can see the picture on the right-hand side of these various areas where they hand them back thinking land for peace. Never works. So this is Josh Wander again. And, so basically, ceasefire assessment, Israel, every time Israel has relied on the stupidity of the Palestinians, it has worked. It has worked, yeah. So in terms of negotiating further, I'm sorry, this is from Topaz Ram, not from Josh. The next slide is from Josh. But basically, it is better to bet on the Palestinian ineptness than to bet on conflicts. They fight amongst themselves. It's like demons. They hate each other too. Israel is still at war and has never gone all out in all the arenas at once, and this has paid off. The return of hostages is the only element of the agreement that can be executed on an immediate and practical level. That's it. The other ones are going to take time, people. Okay, but then if they get something cemented, then they can work on these other peace agreements. Okay. The Arab Muslim world has never created a practical political or military operation and managed to maintain it. The deals don't hold up. But if we get 7 years out of this, it's prophetic. Israel will not be tested by a single agreement or a micro event in the war. Israel's decision-making set should always be in the practical dimension as the supreme one, and time will judge that. Just as there were days of ceasefires, there will be days of bombings in Iran. Yeah, there were. I see no reason to get excited in one way or another. The sky is not falling except on the issue of the hostages. That is it. Military power is supreme, not fragile political power. Hence, patience. That's what we're noticing. That's why I'm a day late on my video. So we're negotiating with the problem of the United Nations says, could you at least meet Hamas halfway? And Hamas demands are death to all Jews. Well, you can't meet them halfway. So the sixth point of this 20-point plan or 21-point plan is once all hostages are returned, Hamas members who commit peaceful coexistence and to decommission their weapons will be given amnesty. Members of Hamas who wish to leave Gaza will be provided safe passage to receiving countries. That's his Trump Gaza plan. It'll never happen. They'll never want peace. They are not trained to believe in peace. They've never been peaceful with anybody else either. No other Muslim country wants them. Because they espouse things like this: bring annihilation upon the Jews, paralyze them, destroy their entity. On the right-hand side, then in the middle, we'll take down the border with Israel and tear out their hearts from their bodies. Kill them all without leaving a single one. You have Jews everywhere, and we must attack every Jew on the globe by way of slaughter and killing. So you see four opinions on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, October 4th, per Daniel Cohen, the president is working on a peace deal with people like this. So the plan on the right-hand side that seems to be going forward right now, the negotiations for a deal based on the Trump plan, the ongoing talks regarding ending the war in Ukraine, or Gaza rather, are technical in nature. Witkoff and Kushner will take part in them. All parties agree on President Trump's plan as of right now. This is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the 6th. 6th. We will act very quickly regarding the Gaza plan. We hope the Gaza agreement will be one of the greatest peace agreements, that's Trump speaking, the world has ever known, and we are working to achieve this goal. President Trump believes peace can be achieved in Gaza and therefore presented his detailed plan. The first step is the release of the hostages. Israel is cooperating excellently regarding the Gaza plan. Okay, but you're dealing with people that say we must kill the Jews with our bare hands. To kill them with our teeth. With our teeth, we will eat the Jews, a Palestinian mother. How do you get peace out of that? Yeah. And on the right-hand side, the UK police are searching for the motive of the terrorist named Jihad Jew Killer. That's from Babylonian Bee. So you see the problems that we're dealing with. This is from Cheryl E. She seems to be a brilliant person. It's September 28th. The thing that stood out to me the most about the 21-point ceasefire proposal by the American administration is that just like the UK and France and Canada and Australia and all the other countries Trump criticized in his UN speech, the U.S. now officially and publicly also recognizes a Palestinian state. And all it took was a little finesse from none other than Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. Very interesting. So other players are involved in the peace deal. It's not just the Gazans, the Hamas. It's the pressure that they're getting from other locations because they need support from other Arab countries. So this is from the AF Post. Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu briefed American influencers on TikTok. calling it the most important weapon in securing support for Israel on the right wing. He went on to say weapons change over time. The most important ones are social media. I am not doing TikTok yet, but I'm probably ready to go. It will be Jewish friendly, Israel friendly, because of Larry Ellison. So Netanyahu mentioned X and Elon Musk as well. I'm on X, and my friends are on X. So it's interesting to watch the social media work, hopefully towards Israel. Uh, so Musk is a friend, not an enemy, and we should talk to him, according to Bibi. So this Haller published this yesterday. Very interesting. So on 10.5. So once again, I'm publishing on 10.6. So just so you're aware, I've not received any Israeli checks yet of $7,000. I work for free, okay? And for those of you like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, happy Sukkot, Jew haters. I mean, goodness, we started tonight. I'll start it the next day, but that's fine. Um, uh, Whatever. Okay, so let's get on to what I bring to the table that's different. I'm telling you that as the agreements were worked on and peace for land was being negotiated, the sun didn't do anything, but the KP index was through the roof for a long period of time. You should have felt it. The KP index is basically protons, photons, and UV coming at us and just overwhelming us. So whether the sun was active or not, it doesn't matter. There was a high level of KP. We'll call it protons, really, because you feel it, okay? You can sense it. It's overwhelming. Heart issues, health issues, other things like that during that time frame, and went on forever and ever and ever with nothing from the sun. So that's what I notice. So and also what you can see is that the pinks were occurring, and that doesn't make any sense. It's there's no storm at all. This is October 2nd, the pinks, and so it didn't stop shining for several minutes. The pink 2 nights earlier display she called the brightest auroras ever from a nothing burger storm. So folks, whether it's an outsized KP index marks an unusual aurora displays, my broken record keeps playing through the speakerphone of space weather. Not only was the past week solar storm psychotically outsized for the little thing that hit us, but the auroras went pink again. This requires extreme and unusual penetration depths of the plasma and is being seen more and more these days as the weakening magnetic field of Earth allows the plasma to blast deeper and deeper into the atmosphere. He calls it plasma. I call it protons, electrons, protons, electrons. And so basically it's penetrating deep from a nothing burger storm. So this is a horrible sign of what's going on. And we await something like the sixth seal, which will be just a blast. And you'll see the flash in 8 minutes. Then the protons would arrive 18 to 72 hours later. Each blast shakes our crust loose, and we're starting to notice the crust loosening from last week. Now, I said that it has to occur on a full moon. It does. The problem is I picked out the blood moon eclipses over the last 9 years, and guess what? I've been wrong on 2 of them so far. So, and I apologize. I truly thought 9/7/25 was the perfect time for the sixth seal to open. That doesn't matter in terms of Jesus' return. It just matters in terms of that seemed to be the time frame of this year. There are other things that could occur that would cause a micronova and time it up with a blood moon eclipse. And that means that you just need something, maybe a comet, to obscure the sun's light onto the moon, and that would cause it to turn red. If that occurs, and you see the sun turning from yellow to white to red to black, we'll have a micronova. So just keep that in mind. I would like to predict it on a date that is predictable, but the problem is the only way it's predictable is it has to be a full moon. That's really the only thing that fits the prophecy of the sixth seal. So just watch for it, Continuing on. This is from AGU 25. So they're constantly looking at the geomagnetic secular acceleration and how it affects us. And so they're stating that they believe there was not only a sign of a geomagnetic jerk, which means the Earth kind of shifts, okay, the crust does, in 2024, but also in spring of 2025. It was observed in Western Europe and North America following a secular acceleration pulse centered in 2022. Interesting. We have noticed things changing since 2022. We've noticed much deeper low latitude auroras since then. So this is AGU, and this is December of 2025. Oh, that's when they next meet. That's their next meeting. I probably am encouraging one of my friends to attend that because he lives in Louisiana. You've met him before. He's done shows with me before. So on the right-hand side, this is from Ben Davidson. The geomagnetic forecast has already begun degrading in early 2025. That usually takes years into the new issue, which was issued in December 2024. But this one took just a season, just a year. They also think we had a core geomagnetic jerk last year, which would make sense. These are the types of things that tell us the march of the magnetic pole shift is continuing, and we may already be staring down an out of cycle release that, if this error rate continues, geomagnetic jerks in back to back years. Normally, they occur every 4 to 7 years. Back to back years. That's frightening. So the jerks, they're harder and faster. This is the jerks showing in June, July of 2025. Data for the AGU World Magnetic Model that got released several months ago, later in December 2025. And we also have signs of forecast degradation in terms of ongoing magnetic pole shift. This would mean these two things happen 1 year after another. I've never seen geomagnetic jerks in back-to-back years. I would like to know if there is really a geomagnetic jerk in 2024, because geomagnetic jerks are supposed to be 4 to 7 years apart. Yeah, I already quoted it. Sorry, I quoted it twice. It means that the pole shift could be accelerating. So that's Ben Davidson. One more time, I'm kind of repeating it to you because that's what's going on. Several jerks are known to have occurred in different times, in 1991, 1999, 2003. But what if it occurred in 2024 and 2025? That's a horrible sign. And not to mention the fact that the key North Atlantic current is on the brink of collapsing, plunging Europe into a little ice age. As the pole shifts towards America and pulls Russia and Europe into the North Pole, their current is collapsing. Okay, and so the North Atlantic subpolar gyre. Musk is aware of this. He's tracking it very closely. He's got the satellites. So, Musk could tell us what's going on. He won't talk about it because it's that bad. It's horrible. And this report came out on the 6th. I just pulled it a few hours ago from the Daily Mail. So just the North Atlantic. So basically we have the AMOC, the Atlantic Meridian current overturning. And then we have the, oh goodness, there's a couple of them, and they're collapsing badly. So the ice ages are coming for certain regions. And you can see down below that it's now heading, the pole is heading towards Russia, which means Russia and Europe will be going into a little ice age, and especially if you've got the currents shutting down. Horrible. So can we start the end times in 2025? It's still possible. Now, I will explain to you in the next slide that it really relates to which peace agreement and when God officially kicks it off. Tom Horn has been wrong 2 times, on June 8th, 2025, or September 22nd, 2025. Now we start Sukkot, October 6th through the 13th, or really I'll start it on the 7th. And so he's saying that's exactly 3.5 years before Apophis wormwood hits. Interesting. The pole flip acceleration will occur anyway. He's stating that Apophis shows up April 13th of 2029. I'm saying the most interesting time is actually now about a month from now. That's what I'm watching. And he's saying everything would conclude October 13th, 2032. Interesting. Okay. Possible. His math is not quite right, but he's saying that would be the tribulation and then the greater tribulation. So that's Tom Horn. This is what I watch, and so for me, November 14th of 2025, which would be, the false Sukkot of Jeroboam from 1 Kings 12. And so that would be 23 Heshvan. That's interesting. The 22nd, 23rd, that would be the drop date in November. Any of those times. The Olympics type people, the globalists have been telling us that Heshvan, which will be Halloween of this year of 2025, is their big time frame. The fall Sukkot again is November 6th through the 14th. Noah's flood would be November 8th of 2025. That's Heshvan 17. But here's the big four. I want you to be aware of this. So read the 4 points of the lower right-hand side. Is the peace deal from Daniel 9:24 through 27 the Gaza peace deal? And which exact day would that occur? Is it the Abraham Accords? And what exact day? Or the Russia-Ukraine deal? What exact day would that be? Or when we really have world peace, what exact day? You're not going to know exactly. You'll know, maybe 7 years later, but you wouldn't really know which one of the deals is the deal. So we just have to wait and watch. And so Israel has to choose. Their choice for the future is God and life. The Torah reminds us, I have set before you life and death, blessing and a curse. Therefore, choose life. That's Deuteronomy 30:19. The choice is clear. This is Josh Wander again. Israel must stop repeating the mistakes of the past. No more land for terror. No more legitimizing murders through negotiations. It's time to stand firm in our God-given right to this land and to demand that the world acknowledge the eternal truth. Eretz Israel belongs to Am Israel forever. Am Israel Kai. Okay? Peace for peace, land for terror, no. We need peace for peace. That's it. We are in the birth pangs. I presented information about the sixth seal. It is occurring. It's increasing, guys. We are not in the tribulation. We're not in the great tribulation. We are on the precipice of peace. That's part of it. That's 1 Thessalonians 5:3. I didn't cite it specifically. I didn't read it to you today, but you know what it means. It's just when they talk about peace and safety, sudden destruction comes. So that feeds into probably Revelation either 6 or probably chapter 6. In the seals. Okay, so Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, now Sukkot coming up. You need clean garments. You can't be naked. It's a wedding. You'll be kicked out of a wedding if you're naked or if you have dirty garments. You know that. So get your garments clean. Thank you for your time. Be blessed. We'll see if the peace agreement holds and which peace agreement. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.